Hey gang, Coach Chris here. I wanted to do a quick video on heart rate monitors. So those of you who don't know me, I have a metabolic testing business called Metabolic Athlete, and I use a lot of different heart rate monitors, do a lot of testing of equipment and athletes. But my coaching business is also known as 4-Star Endurance, where we take endurance sports athletes from the start line to the finish line using our 4 stars, our 4 methods of motivation. So when I look at different heart rate monitors, I have different ones that I recommend for different purposes. Specifically, I'm going to talk about for athletes, endurance sports athletes today. I use different heart rate monitors in the lab sometimes, but I also use some for endurance sports. So I'm going to go over a couple and kind of some of the key points of the ones that I recommend. Obviously, I also have some discounts, whether through affiliate links or discount codes and things like that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about all that. First and foremost, I'll say if you do have any heart condition, you want to definitely get something that can possibly support you. There are some more advanced heart rate monitors out there. One specifically that I started using myself in the last couple of years is called the Fourth Frontier, the Frontier X, and now they have the Frontier X2, the one with the little blue button on the bottom. This does a full EKG. It's a little bit of a bulkier device, as you can see here, but it does a full EKG, and you can do live remote monitoring of your EKG. So if you have heart conditions, if you're working with a doctor, that's one to consider. It is expensive. It is about $500, but they discount it. And I think we have a discount code for that one. Another brand called WellU is one that can do EKG, but this you have to offline upload via a USB cable. But if you need a full medical EKG report to give to a doctor and you want to monitor something when you're working out, these two are two that I do recommend for that specific purpose. In lab testing, I also use the Polar H10. I actually take the Polar H10's strap, so I take the sensor off and take the strap from the Polar H10 and use that with the Frontier X here. And one of the reasons for that in the Polar H10 in general is you'll notice here it has 2 electrode pads on each end of the chest strap. And that's what makes the Polar H10 one that we use in research studies and lab testing, because the extra pad helps to filter out some of the noise of the heart rate data that you might get. And that's what makes the Polar H10 kind of the gold standard in the industry. So that's one I can generally always recommend. The other big ones, Garmin has a whole bunch of straps. They're more advanced ones, more expensive ones also have built-in metrics like power and running dynamics for runners. Wahoo has some running dynamics as well. They're also well known because they have multiple Bluetooth connections. So if you're a cyclist who does indoor Zwifting and that sort of thing, and you want to be able to have your heart rate data go to multiple apps and devices, bike, computer, wristwatch, Apple TV, all that, both of these are really pretty good heart rate monitors for that. There's also the Viva, which is one where you can bridge other sensors. So if you're using an Apple TV for Zwift, you can have this guy connect to like a speed or cadence sensor and then relay that data through just one Bluetooth connection. But those are all pretty kind of specific heart rate monitors for specific purposes. The one question I get a lot these days are, do I need a chest strap? So the one I use for most, I'd say athletes, endurance athletes doing marathon, triathlon, that sort of thing, is the Myzone, simply because it's more versatile than anything else out there in the market right now. A lot of people don't like wearing chest straps because they might cause chafing. Those of you who have the old Myzones, the MZ3s, that have the really big sensor that bounces up and down a little bit, that one caused a lot of chafing. This new one, the Myzone Switch, you'll notice is actually even smaller than the small Garmin one. And so this is a nice new one that's also unique because it can do both the standard chest strap, and you can get different color chest straps. This one is red, has a standard 2 pads on the back, but it also snaps off. And on the back, you'll notice it has optical sensors. So you can actually push the button on the front of this device, turn it on as an optical strap. So it can switch between optical and EKG, so ECG, EKG, or PPG, what they call the optical technology. And so this is a more versatile strap because you can take it off the chest strap and use it as an optical heart rate monitor. Now there's other opticals out there. The ones that I generally recommend are not wrist-based ones, but upper armband ones. Polar makes the other one that I really like. There's other companies out there like Scosche makes a bunch. The Polar is really nice because it has a couple other features to it, but you'll notice it has, I think, at least six to eight optical sensors on the back. The OH1, it used to be called, now it's the Verity Sense is the latest model, is a really good upper armband one if you don't want a chest strap, but you want something more accurate than a wrist-based heart rate monitor. Now, Garmin and Apple Watch and whatnot make great wrist-based optical heart rate monitors, but any wrist-based device is inherently flawed simply because measuring at the wrist, one, it's further away from the heart, so you get a little bit of a lag sometimes with the actual data, and it's also near the bone of the wrist, which can obstruct the optical signal, or if you have hairy arms like I do, or if you have tattoos, if you have darker colored skin, optical technology does not work that well, and especially if a lot of light can get underneath here, or if you are wearing a sleeve in the colder months, that gets underneath it, or if it just slides up and down as you're swinging your arm. There's a lot of things that can throw this type of measurement of heart rate off during exercise. If you're stationary, it's fine. That's why they do pulse oximetry using like the fingertip sensor, or for measuring heart rate at night. This is perfectly fine. But for fitness and performance, when you care about your heart rate and you want it to be relatively accurate, it really is not a good way to measure it. Even if you say, oh, I do get good numbers from it, it's okay, but it's not truly accurate. And when health is the most important thing and performance, they generally say these end up being about 95% accurate, and that means 95% of a 190, 180, 200 beat max heart rate means you could be off as much as 10 beats, and that's a full half of a heart rate zone. So that could mean hundreds of calories of fat metabolism being missed and things like that. So it really is not good for anything where you're trying to do a race or perform. So that's why we always generally recommend a chest strap as the gold standard. Once you get to a chest strap, you're 99.9% as accurate as an EKG, like a 12-lead EKG. But if you don't like the chest strap, or you want something that's just versatile, an upper armband optical usually gets you within about 97 to 98% accurate. So since the Myzone Switch has come out and the Verity Sense, over the last year or so, I've done about 100 VO2 max tests in the lab, and I've used both of these as a companion to a chest strap just to see how close and how accurate they are. And I've generally found both of these to be within 1 to 2 beats. So that's generally 98 to 99% accurate compared to the chest strap. So I would definitely recommend either of these if you want an alternative to the chest strap. And one of the main reasons I do recommend the Myzone, I actually ended up making a little bit of a list here, just so that you guys know why I talk about this one quite a bit, especially for the athletes that we train and coach. One, it's really that versatility, being able to say, I want it in chest strap mode and then switch it to an armband is a nice option to have, whether you're worried about chafing or accuracy, or you're doing different sports. For swimming, for example, chest straps don't work that well. So if you're a triathlete and you want something that works for swimming, using the Myzone Switch, where you take it off of the chest strap and put it in their armband holder, you can wear it as an upper armband while you're swimming, and this will stay in place and get a consistent, reliable number. That's a lot better than pretty much anything else out there. Also, if you're a marathoner and you're just worried about the chafing, wearing it as an upper armband is a nice way to avoid that chafing on the chest, for women wearing sports bras, for example. Also, for Ironman athletes, if you have an issue like with Garmin watches or whatnot, sometimes depending on how long you're out there, if you're doing an all-day event and your battery on your watch dies, the Myzone continues to record the heart rate locally. So then you can basically offline record it and then upload it later through the Myzone app. So the ability to just put the sensor on and not need a watch, if you don't want to wear a watch one day, but you do want to collect your heart rate data, that's a pretty neat feature to have. And most of the high-end heart rate monitors these days have that. The other neat thing is the battery. So the issue we sometimes have and why people don't use heart rate or they don't trust their heart rate monitor as much, even with the chest straps, is because like Garmin has done a really good job with their batteries and they generally last 2 to 3 years before they need to be replaced. Problem is when they do start wearing down, they start giving some bogus readings and then people stop trusting their heart rate monitors and stop looking at them. So I always recommend getting one these days so that you can replace the battery or know where the battery charge level is. And the Myzone reports it as a percentage, so you can see it all the time through their app. And the light even flashes red when it starts running low to let you know that it's time to recharge it. And it'll generally last. You do a USB recharger, you just connect it to a snap as a little metal contact here on the back. And it'll last about 6 months as a chest strap. Optical watches and any optical heart rate monitor generally uses a lot more battery power, so they generally wear down after even just 24 hours. The Myzone, I think I've seen it go as long as 72 hours. Might be more, might be less, but compared to all other optical upper armbands, that is the best, or at least among the top 2 or 3 out there. That I'm aware of, at least. So from the battery standpoint, it's great. And then when you have to replace a battery, oftentimes with Garmin and others, you have to break the seal, open it up. And if you keep doing that over several years, eventually that O-ring seal will probably wear down and then the strap dies because water gets inside where the battery is. Whereas a fully sealed one like the Myzone that's USB rechargeable that you just snap onto, you never have to open it. So from a waterproofing standpoint, that makes it much more reliable and durable in the long run. The other thing that Myzone does great, what they're known for, they partner with health clubs mostly. And that's why you see them only in health clubs, not in retail. They focus on motivating people and keeping people engaged. And that's their whole MEPS, their Myzone Energy Point System. So they have a whole great app infrastructure built around earning points based on working out. And it does a job better than anything I've seen in terms of keeping people motivated, especially your nurse athletes in the off season after a big race. You're not motivated anymore. You're looking for what to do next. This thing has done a great job of keeping people motivated to do a certain amount of training per month because you earn rankings and you see friends. They have a whole social kind of Facebook component where you can like each other's workouts and see each other's workouts. And that does a really powerful job of keeping you motivated, especially in the off season. The other reason I like it is from a metabolic standpoint. With VO2 testing, I can customize it in a very simple manner. So when you do a VO2 test, I can then go directly in and update it to your true metabolism. So most other heart rate monitors, work with apps and stuff that you can customize. But with this, I can do it directly within the watch itself. So then the color of the light flashing and everything is tailored to your metabolism. So if you're in the green zone, you're burning a mixture of fat and carbs. If you're in the red zone, you're burning all carbs, and we can kind of tailor all the zones more specifically to you. So that's a great thing that I obviously love running a metabolic cart and a coaching business, being able to coach people on learning to use their heart rate monitor and be able to trust it when it's tailored to you is really, really powerful. They also have just that phone app in general, and it has a lot of other features built into it. But one of the things that we've done with ours, and some facilities do this, some don't, but I have a full facility. Anyone who has a Myzone is welcome to join it. You just associate it to this facility ID number 4SUS001. And we have workouts built in. So you can do live and recorded workouts where you can join, have your heart rate visible, and be motivated, train with other people. It's a great alternative to having to pay for a subscription for, Apple Fitness or Peloton or whatnot. So you basically can get that for free built in with, at least for our implementation of Myzone. And again, the accuracy, I think I hit on this already, but optical generally, when it's down at 95% accuracy, it's really only good for sleep measurement and static measurements when you're not moving. When you're working out, you want something that's going to be 98% or higher in terms of accuracy. And that's what an upper optical armband will usually get you. The last thing I'll mention too is they do have challenges built in and whatnot. We oftentimes tie those to different things. With our implementation of Myzone, anyone who purchases a Myzone, we give a percentage back to a charity, and then we also run occasional challenges to keep you motivated. So when your training means more than just your training, when it ties to a greater cause, it's a lot easier to get motivated, and it's an easy decision to purchase one when that's the case. So we try to make those decisions easy for our athletes. Also, if you want to get one for free, I call this kind of virtually getting one for free. If you do purchase one through us, obviously we have affiliate links and whatnot. If you purchase one from us directly, we can give you a little discount card. So whenever you get the Myzone from us, typically, let's see if I have it in here. We have our facility number, and then in the box, you'll get a card, a little discount card. And with this card, you can get $50 off both a VO2 and an RMR test. So you get $100 in credit towards metabolic testing. The idea there is we're basically giving you the money back that you're spending on the strap to get it tailored to your metabolism. So the money you spend is credited fully back, essentially, if you're doing both tests. So you're essentially getting the heart rate monitor for free. You're getting the $100 back that you spent on buying a strap like this. So that's what we always recommend. We always try to motivate people in creative ways, so that's what we do. The only negatives really about the Myzone, compared to some others like the Garmin, the Wahoo, they do not provide cadence or running dynamic metrics, power, and that sort of thing. So Myzone, if you're listening, that's something you've definitely missed out on in this one. Hopefully you'll be able to find a way to integrate that in the future. But that's my biggest pet peeve. The only kind of missed opportunity I feel that Myzone had there in terms of being able to count steps or movement, your cadence, running dynamics metrics. That's pretty much standard in most high-end heart rate monitors. It also does not have the analog signal, the polar wireless compatibility with really old fitness equipment that the Myzone, the MZ3 had. But you really don't need that anymore these days. If you have old fitness equipment that doesn't have Bluetooth compatibility or Ant Plus these days, it's probably time to buy a new type of fitness equipment because it's probably getting pretty old. So that's just something to think about. It doesn't do the analog anymore with the new Myzone Switch. It does, however, the neat thing is people say, oh, well, do I really want to get a Myzone? I already have a Garmin or an Apple Watch. The Myzone does work directly with them. There's actually widgets and apps on Apple Watch, on Garmin that you can download to get the Myzone to give you that greater accuracy on your existing device. So that's really the key to making something like this helpful and to make training easy and to be able to tailor it to your metabolism. So those are generally the reasons why we ended up, thinking about what are all the reasons? Why do people like the Myzone? And that pretty much summarizes it. A lot of other straps provide a couple of those similar tips or similar features, but not everything. So that's why even our athletes who are really tied to, Garmin and others end up really enjoying getting the Myzone because we can do everything it can and more, essentially, other than the running dynamics. So, and if you do, like some people actually do wear the Garmin chest strap and then use the Myzone as an optical, so you can wear both at the same time. So you have a number of athletes that do that if you do want those additional metrics. So anyhow, if you guys are interested, also I would mention if you join our 4-star club, you can actually get a steeper discount on the Myzone to give you $60 off. So if you want to join our community, feel free to get an even bigger discount on the Myzone. And yeah, good luck with your training and see you out there.